Welcome to K-Drama School. I'm your host, Grace Jung, and class is now in session. If it's a little noisy, it's because I am at Point Magoo. It is a beach part of Ventura County, just outside of Malibu, and it's one of my favorite places to come to when I want to just get the hell away from my noisy ass neighbors. So, it is Sunday, August 8th. Today is the last day of the Tokyo Summer Olympics, and the show that I'm discussing is called Reply 1988, which starts off with the Seoul Summer Olympics from 33 years ago. Reply 1988 is the third installment of the Reply series, or Answer Me series, and it's written by writer Yi Woo-jung, who is a very versatile writer. She worked on several Korean variety shows that I really love, including Heroine 6, and the first season of 2 Days, 1 Night, which I watched obsessively when I was living in Korea from 2009 to 2010. Yoo-jung also wrote Grandpa's Over Flowers. She wrote 3 Meals a Day. She wrote A New Journey to the West and Yoon's Kitchen, which features the illustrious Oscar-winning actress Yoon Ye-jung. Yoo-jung is also the writer of Hospital Playlist, which is in its second season right now on Netflix as we speak. And to be honest, I like season 2 better than season 1 of Hospital Playlist. Hospital Playlist isn't exactly as sprightly and jovial as the Reply series are, because we're dealing with somewhat older characters. I mean, they're all supposedly in their 40s, so they're a bit slower. But I don't know, I still think she's a great writer. Reply 1997 and Reply 1994 have so many overlaps and overlapping cast members, and some of the storylines, they do cross paths, but they're distinct shows, meaning each show is its own show. They're not seasonal, okay? And Reply 1988 is similar, right? There's this one story or character overlap towards the end of Reply 1988, but the Reply series, as I mentioned, they're not in seasons. They're not 3 seasons. They're just 3 different shows, all written and directed by the same people. And each show has a new cast, but the exception is Sung Dong-il and Yoo Il-hwa, who play the parents of the female protagonist in every single Reply series. In fact, Sung Dong-il makes a couple of cameo appearances in Hospital Playlist as well. And this is usually the case. The writer of a Korean drama does have a lot of say in that she'll pick an actor or actress that she really likes and try to have them, recur in all of the shows that she writes. Reply 1988 was a career-shifting show for basically everybody that appeared on that program, all right? So Hedy of Girls' Day was already very well known for being a K-pop star, right? But this show earned her like massive clout as a serious actress. And the amount of endorsements that she got as a result of this program is like unbelievably high. In fact, a few years ago, she showed up on the Korean talk variety show Happy Together with Yoo Jae-suk, and she was crying over how guilty she feels for getting so much more attention and money than her Girls' Day colleagues. That's how big of a show this was. It really catapulted her career as an actress. Go Kyung-pyo, Park Bo-gum, Ryu Jun-yeol, and Lee Dong-hee all have careers as actors. They all had a career as actors already, but this show boosted their popularity like to the next level. And you see all 4 of them regularly in movies and TV shows now. A little bit of goss. Well, it's not goss. It's actually just a fact. Ryu Jun-yeol and Hedy started dating about a year after Reply 1988 ended. And to be frank, I was a bit happy to hear that, because Hedy was actually dating Tony An from HOT, and I was like, Tony An, you cradle-rocking piece of shit. Reply 1988 is the third and final installment of the Reply series, and it's probably the best and my favorite. I think I watched this show about 5 or 6 times in its entirety already, and I cry every single time I watch it, okay? It has a lot of heart. It's super hilarious. The actor who plays Kim Jung-bong, An Jae-hong is his name. He cracked me up the most, all right? Like, I don't know. He just has something about him. Lee Dong-hee is also hilarious. Lee Dong-hee plays Do-dong-yong, okay? And you can see Lee Dong-hee in the latest episodes of How Do You Play, which is a variety show that also is hosted by Yoo Jae-seok. And he's a remarkable singer. I mean, I was like really shocked to hear how amazing of an R&B singer Lee Dong-hee is, but he's very, very talented. I think Lee Dong-hee is one of those actors who has like this vibe that's just likable both on and off screen. He plays Do-dong-yong very well on Reply 1988, and he fits that character like a glove, just so perfectly. Like finding a nice pair of jeans that fit you just right. Like that's what this character was like for Lee Dong-hee. And I think a lot of people feel similarly. It's interesting to see how in Reply 1988, like the laws and politics back in Seoul in the late 80s, you could kind of see its evolutionary progress, like year by year. It was happening very rapidly and fast. This is an ongoing theme in all the Reply shows, but music is a huge proponent on this program, okay? I really discourage you from watching any of the Reply series on Netflix or Viki if you're living in North America, because they removed all the original music cues, okay? So I recommend that you watch it on Drama Cool or some other site where they did not edit out the songs. There's one scene in particular when Deoksun and Do-dong-yong are singing together, and it's this amazing scene, but Netflix cut it out because of the music cue issues. And I know I complain about this all the time, but I just don't think it's responsible of Netflix or Viki or Cocoa to acquire these shows that they don't have all the clearances for, okay? That's just shoddy acquisition work. The way that the Reply series delivers that particular generation's affect and social atmosphere is carried through by the music that generation is listening to. So to remove all that music is really like burning cigarette holes into the original Mona Lisa, okay? It's just really fucked up. I won't say much else about the show because I think the show speaks for itself. It's definitely one driven by nostalgia, like just like all the Reply shows. But you can see some of the democratic evolution that settles into South Korea over time, okay? For instance, you catch glimpses of the student demonstrations that are in this show, which is very, very significant. Student demonstrations and activism were a huge part of Korea's democratization. And you have to know that even though South Korea declared itself as a republic, they were dictated by military authority leaders who were basically fascists, all right? They murdered a lot of their own people. They suppressed and they imprisoned a lot of their own people. Many of them were students. And there was just a lot of political turmoil in the late 1980s. I mean, all throughout the 60s and 70s and 80s for sure. The question is, where did these student protesters go after they graduated, right? And the sad thing is, a lot of these student protesters in the 1980s, they went to elite schools. And once they graduated, a lot of them got cushy white-collar office jobs and made some money. And that turned them politically conservative, all right? That's what money does to a person. It makes a person lose touch with their humanity, forget the causes that they fought for. They become desensitized to a lot of the similar plight that still plagues current generations today, but they just completely forget it. Right? So there's this sort of capitalist amnesia that sets in, right? And then they all become conservative, which is a sad thing to see. This tendency also happens when people have children, right? When they have like a nuclear family, heteronormativity, like that kind of thing. That's also when conservatism starts to creep in. So how do you prevent this kind of debilitating change from happening, right? Like this kind of political Alzheimer's, let's call it. An individual must always remember to stay in touch with themselves, all right? What do I mean by that? I mean, an individual must know who they are, know who you are, know what you are, understand and know where your state of home is in your mind. This is very crucial. So you always have a home to come back to, right? I have some friends now who used to know what they were fighting for, but now they're just comfortable in their lifestyles and they don't care. They don't give a shit. And that's fine, but you know, I also think that's sad. The more you have to say to rationalize your shitty choices, the more it means that you've lost your sense of self. You've lost touch with your state of home. All right, the other thing I want to talk about real quick is I do have merch. I ordered some magnets, like K-drama school magnets. So it looks like this. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. If you're not watching on YouTube, I'll upload it on Instagram. I'm not gonna open up a store online just yet because it does cost money and I just don't want to be in the red at the moment. So you could just Venmo me or PayPal me. You could Venmo me at HJ at AECHJAY. PayPal is the same. AECHJAY at gmail.com is PayPal. But yeah, if you want to order properly, just email me at kdramaschool@gmail.com and I'll just get your order started. And these are limited supply items, so get them while you can. The set of 2 will be $6. Get those. Also, I have 8 copies of my book, Delhi Ideology, which you can order directly from me. All right, like I'll send you a signed copy of my book. If you email me at kdramaschool@gmail.com, you can order it by just emailing me and I will send it to you. Shipping and handling costs separate. All right. So, yeah, I got merch. Okay. Today's guest is Jovan Hutch. He's a comedian, journalist, and lawyer. He grew up in Harlem and the Bronx, but he now lives in Berlin with his husband. And Joe is very funny. He offers a wealth of knowledge, and he's a really good person, which makes him a truly lovable soul. So let's talk to Jovan Hutch. How's it been? How's it been in Berlin?
Let's see. You remember the Berlin of like party and fun
Yes.
and freedom.
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore.
No. Man.
No. Yeah. Berlin under lockdown is kind of like what I imagine Cincinnati.
Oh, God. Lord. It sounds awful. I didn't realize it was that bad.
What is there to do? What is there to do? There's nothing to do.
Sit in your house, watch television, smoke meth. I don't know. Right?
See, we used to go to the clubs for that, you know? And now we don't even have that. Ugh, at least put a little beat on it.
So you're going to come back to the States basically to just get vaccinated, see your family?
Exactly. I mean, so there's a few things I need to do. Mainly, the vaccination is up there, but then also, I need a new passport.
Okay.
And so theoretically, I could send my passport to the embassy from here and just wait to get a new one. But that would also mean I was a black man in Europe without a passport.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And you know they don't like to let it, so they like to catch and deport. So there's no 12 years a slave happening in my life for me. 12 years in Mogadishu. I don't know where they would find a place to send me. Well, he looks, I don't know, they kind of look like you, so no. So I'm going home, right, take my passport, fly home, get that new passport, fly back with it.
Yeah.
Thank you. So,
oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Where does your family live in New York?
So historically Harlem, the Bronx.
Nice.
Harlem, the Bronx, but I do have to claim Staten Island now as well. I have family out in Staten Island. So I know that ferry back and forth and back and forth. And Brooklyn as well. So kind of
Sweet.
No Queens.
It's okay. Where in Brooklyn?
Oh, yeah. Sorry?
Where in Brooklyn?
So I don't even know the area.
Okay.
That's a really good question. There's like houses. It's like
it's probably like
family Brooklyn.
It's probably like Sheepshead Bay or Bay Ridge.
Yeah, like out there. Yeah.
Right down there, yeah. I lived in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn when I was a child. Yeah. So I remember houses and roses and things like that. It was very like not city like. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like there's a driveway.
Right. Their driveways.
Yeah.
There was like an ice cream parlor, like a nearby ice cream parlor, and yeah, it was like very quaint and town like. Yeah. Bay Ridge. Yeah. I was like, okay, it's cool. That's awesome. I love that you're from New York. That like makes me feel so good because it's like it's hard to find like New Yorkers, like true New Yorkers, but like New Yorkers get it. It's like things that I don't need to explain, like just get it and fucking A. Oh, well, okay. What took you to Berlin and like when? When did you move to Berlin?
Okay, so Berlin, it started for free. It was for free. It could have been anywhere. Like, so I'm like literally that joke about you can go in. It would have been anywhere. I was in high school and there was a scholarship announcement to go spend a year. and it happened to be Germany. I wanted to get out of my high school at that point,
Wow.
so I would have literally gone
Sure.
anywhere. I
Yeah.
knew nothing about German. I didn't speak Germany. I didn't speak German. But I applied for the scholarship,
Yeah.
got it, and so then I came here when I was 15 years old.
What?
Not to Berlin, not to Berlin. That would have been too much. As a 15-year-old. Oh, not. I don't know. I'm a 16-year-old, right? So 15, I was like out, like in like Northwest, kind of like near Hamburg, kind of.
Okay.
So yes, I did a year there, and I was like, oh my god, it's really fun being a teenager in Europe.
Yeah.
Like I like this. Like I have like things I can do. I like people I can see.
Yeah.
So yes, that was when I was 15, 16, and then I finished high school, and then just like started coming back as much as I could.
Hmm.
So it's been like over 20 years that I've been coming back and forth to
Lord.
Germany. Yeah.
There's something about Germany that is very like I don't know, wonderful. Like I love Germany. I love Berlin, like that's why I keep going back whenever I can, but yeah, I don't know what it is. It's quiet. People
It's
are
beer.
quiet.
Let's be honest. Talk about it's quiet. It's beer. It's beer. It's walking around with beers in your hands. Okay, that's what it is.
It's
I'm gonna
great. It's
say.
great. Like I drank so many fucking brewskis while in Berlin. Like just go to the park, beer. Go to the pool, beer. Go to the lake, beer. It's just
Yeah.
beer all day. Man, I quit drinking though during the pandemic. I don't know how that'll change once I go to Berlin. It's not like I'm sober or anything. I don't have chips, but yeah, I was just like, I think I'm over alcohol. I was like, all right, bye.
I mean, it's not fun when it's just you at home, right? Then it's just like, wow.
It feels pathetic. That's really the case. That was genuinely the thing. I was like, I feel like a loser getting shit faced by myself. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
this is not fun. I feel like an idiot. I broke two wine glasses by myself. It's like this is loser shit.
Sorry.
This is stupid loser shit. I gotta
Were you
stop.
fighting yourself? Like, how are you?
It was an accident. I was like looking for something and I knocked the wine glass onto the floor from my coffee table and the stem broke and I was like, "Oh, Grace, now you have to clean up glass. Like it's stupid. Like, I'm already so klutzy. Like why add alcohol to that?" It's just dumb. I don't know. I was just like when I was younger, I was like when I turn 40, I'll stop drinking. It's just cuz alcohol is not good for you in general. And it's like, I was like, I'll just set a deadline, like by 40, I'll stop. But then, yeah, this past year, I was like, I'm just gonna stop now. Yeah, I was like, it's,
We've all been aged, so like the pandemic has aged us. Just like hurtled you past the 40, you thought well, you'd have a bit more time
dude.
for.
Did you find gray hairs, like more gray hairs like during this year? Because that's what happened with me. Like I was finding more grays in my temples, which is like, uh-oh.
Mhm.
That's why I got highlights because I was like, I don't feel good about this.
So I love how you're pointing at your head for the gray hairs because I had this experience. I was brushing my teeth, have a little shirt off, brushing my teeth, and I'm like, oh, I've got some little fuzz on my chest. So I'm trying to like wipe off the fuzz. The fuzz is not going anywhere. Fuzz is very happy where it is because yeah, it's
Go away,
all
Fuzz. Yeah.
yeah. It's like it just yeah,
Oh, it's the white hairs.
yeah.
I no, it really like this happened to everybody. Like everybody I spoke to, they said they felt older, like aged slower. Just all of that. Yeah, I think solitude and it's just I don't think it's good for us. We're not meant for it. Yeah.
Well, that's why you're out on the other side, all vaccinated. Thank you for having that. Did you have to fight with anyone to get your vaccination? I got people I'm
I
fighting
did
with
it. It
about
was very
vaccination.
peaceful. There's a YMCA like a 5-minute drive from where I live, and they just like opened up the YMCA parking lot, and so I got there very early. It was a very short line, and I got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, so one dose shot. Yeah, and then right after the shot, they have you sit for 15 minutes just to monitor you, and then they're like, "Okay, you're good. Bye." And I just like, I think I got like I think I got steam buns on my way back home. That's the thing about LA though, that like, I mean, in New York, if I want to get really good like Asian food or Chinese food, it's like I'll go to Chinatown or I'll go to K-Town, I'll go to Queens. But in LA, there's like really, really good Asian food like everywhere, fucking everywhere. It's Asians like in California, like they got it down in all the supermarkets. And being Asian in Cali is just like not weird, you know?
Mm,
Like if I go up to the Bay Area or if I meet like a Bay Area Asian American, they have this Bay Area Asian American confidence that us East Coast Asian kids lack, you know? Because in the Bay Area, being Asian is like the norm. There's so many fucking Asians in the Bay Area that they all just grew up seeing one another, and
mhm.
nobody shamed them for bringing Asian food to school or listening to like Asian music or media. It was just always cool. It was accepted. Whereas in the East Coast, there was some shaming going on. A lot of it was like internalized, like self-inflicted, but it was also like because of that self-inflicted stuff and the presumption of the white gaze and whatnot, like it just became hard for I don't know Asian American kids on the East Coast. So the East Coast Asians have this little damage, that the Bay Area Asian American kids don't have.
Well, actually, yeah. So I remember I knew a guy in law school
Mm,
who was like, "I'm leaving to New York." He's originally Korean. He's like, "I'm leaving to New York to move to San Francisco," and I didn't get it
right.
because I didn't know everything you're telling me right now. But he was basically
Mm.
like, I want to have a life. I want to meet somebody. I want to be happy. So y'all
Yes.
can keep New York. This is not it. I'm moving to San Francisco. He's been there ever since.
Good for him.
Move state. Yeah. So
Yeah. And they got really good food in San Francisco too. Man. But yeah, it's interesting. Like living in the two coasts, like it's interesting to note those kinds of things. Like to grow up feeling like your culture, your ethnic identity, all the things that you cherish and hold dear are weird or wrong is like it's an awful feeling to grow up with that, right? And now that I'm older, all this Korean shit is now popping. What the fuck? Like all these bitches like eating Korean food every day. All these bitches watching K dramas every day. All these bitches know the lyrics to K-pop songs. I don't even fucking know them. It's like every day. And I'm like, where was this shit when I was in middle school and high school, huh? All you bitches made fun of me. It's like, no, 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 no. You don't get to eat my food, haters. But it's also like because I went from Brooklyn, which is very diverse, right? Like literally, if you look at my class photo, every single student was of a different ethnic background. It's like we had fucking like Eastern European kids, we had like all kinds of Asian kids, we had black students, we had Latinx students, we had all kinds of like ethnic background. It was super diverse. And then my parents moved me and my brother for middle school and high school up to a super white part of New York in Rockland County. It's like near like Nyack and shit like that. But
Mhm.
even in Rockland, of all the schools, like Nyack is pretty diverse. Nanuet's pretty diverse. And then you go to my school at Pearl River, it's all fucking Irish Catholics. Like everybody's dads are like cops and firefighters, everybody's
Firefighters, right?
moms.
Yeah.
Dude, I was just, those are the most racist motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it was so awful, like going to that all white school where even the teachers are all like Irish Catholic because like they literally grow up there and then become teachers. You know what I'm saying? And they start teaching at that school. So it was like constant feeling of like shame and I don't belong here. When I was in seventh grade, I remember distinctly we were learning about the Japanese quote unquote internment camps, right? Or quote unquote detention centers, which is what they call the fucking ISIS cages today. So incarceration camps, right? We're learning about this. And literally every single Irish Catholic white kid in that class was like, I think it's great that America took measures to round up the Japanese and put them away because we don't know. We don't know what they're about. They were like very blatantly, unapologetically, and confidently racist.
And my fucking teacher just like had no control over it. She was just like, wait, that's not why I'm teaching you guys this. You got no, you're not. We're critiquing the steps America took. We're not supposed to wait. You guys aren't understanding. And then this fucking bitch, a week later, okay, so 1 week later, when we're taking the history class again, she fucking talks about how in the local news, a Chinese food delivery man got murdered by three white teenagers over like a Chinese food delivery because the kids didn't have money. And I was like, why are you bringing up a Chinese food delivery guy right now? You know, it's like, what does that have anything to do with Japanese incarceration in America and then all of your students being racist? What does that have any? I was like, are you conflating Asians now? Like, what's happening? What's happening? And I'm in there. I'm like, this is wrong. I'm the only motherfucker in that class that was like, this is wrong. This is not cool. It wasn't cool of America back then. It's not cool what you guys are doing now. Is not cool. And then all the kids are like, Grace, shut up. You're not even Japanese. Look at Kyoko. She's not saying anything. I was like, Kyoko never talks. I have never seen Kyoko talk in class ever. Ever. All right? It's not about being Japanese or Korean. It's about just being a human person and just realizing it's not okay to incarcerate people for no fucking reason other than racialized exclusion.
Meanwhile, of course, because we were only fighting World War II against Japan, right? Like, I guess
Only Japan.
it was the week after that they were going to tell you about them other people, right? The Germans, maybe. The Italians, maybe, like in week 2 after that.
And they're fucking fascists. Yeah, they never talked about that. No, they were like, no, we're cool with the Germans. But like even in American history, like we know, like the Germans were discriminated against in America. Like the German Americans, they were highly discriminated against, right? Like German business stores were like broken into. Oh, that shit came up in history class too. They're like a lot of German stores were like vandalized and stuff during World War II because of the propaganda. But I'm like, oh, you guys feel bad about that? About the German store owners getting their store vandalized? Nobody rounded their shit up. Like the Nazis murdered millions of Jews. Nobody rounded up them, right? Like come on. I was like, this is not cool. It's just very obviously blatant racism, right? And when people don't see that, it drives me insane. So like, let me ask you this. So I watched that Ruth Bader Ginsburg documentary, which is so good. And she said, when I read the Constitution, I see all the people who were left out of the Constitution, right? So people of color, obviously, women. And then one of her colleagues in the Supreme Court, who's very traditionalist, conservative, he says, I think you should read the Constitution the way it was written, word by word, word for word. Take it literally. You should not interpret outside of that. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, so the Constitution. I mean, anyone who says you should read it word for word today is just ignoring the part where it says that someone like me is 3/5 of a person. Like I'm a full 5/5. Sometimes I give you a 6/5, depending on what's happening. But no, so it's like I, as a black, and this is why I just don't understand. Clarence. I don't understand Clarence Thomas. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying people are any less black. I'm just saying I don't understand him. Because how can you be a black person, how can you be a black jurist, knowing that when this document was written, it wasn't just the time, it was written specifically to continue slavery. It was written specifically to enshrine the power of the southern states to continue enslaving people, to keep their political supremacy. So if you can give me a constitution that does not have that so-called 3/5 compromise in it, if we could do a little updating, then maybe I might be able to go, okay, let's read word for word. No, but until then, right. It's a document we have. It is the basis of our government. And, right. Short of amendments, we need judicial interpretation. And so I think it's just nonsense to me. Or if we look at guns, it's like, there's no way that these people then, if there were the guns we have now, the weapons we have now, there's no way they would have written that the same way.
Right.
Also, and I can go really, really deep down into it. The same people who say read the Constitution literally are the same people who don't know how to read a comma. Because that Second Amendment does not say that everybody and their mama can just go get a gun if they want. No, it says, let's go. A well-regulated militia being necessary for the defense of a free state, comma, the right of the people to bear arms shall not be infringed. You notice how all that right of the people to bear arms shall not be comes way after what's important in that sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So a well-regulated militia being necessary for the defense of a free state. So, sure, we could read it word by word, but I think that you can only do that if you literally read word and then forget everything you read before or after. Stop. Okay, I found what I want. Stop. I found the word. The word is in the Constitution. It's the one I want. I'm going to keep. Let's go with that one. I want that one. Arms! It's like, no, how about we read things in context? How about we read full sentences? If we can't read in context, first start reading full sentences, then go out to reading in context. So,
that's a great point.
Whole living Constitution thing, I think, it's just, we have to understand. Courts are very conservative places. They don't like being at the forefront of pushing out new laws. When that happens, there's this, so in legal circles, there's this question of whether the Supreme Court creating, when Roe v. Wade, women's right to have abortion, there's this belief that the whole debate about abortion might have died down if, Congress had passed those laws. So there's if judges are seen as being ahead of things, that's when people don't like it. But okay, so that's a Roe v. Wade. Everyone talks about that. But then I also, the first law case I ever learned about was Topeka versus Brown v. Board of Education. Brown v. Board of Education, which is when the Supreme Court said, maybe it's kind of illegal and super unconstitutional to do this whole segregation thing. So it's like, that they got right. And, I think, and so the problem is when people start arguing, no, the judge doesn't have this power. The judges actually do have that power, and judges should be using that power to go, what is the context in which we're living today? I have this old dusty document written by a bunch of rapists, murderers, and thieves, right? Let's call them what they were, but we know the founding fathers. You mean...
Yeah.
I want to see that full family tree, okay? Because I want to see founding fathers. I want to see the full tree. So let's take off this old dusty document to kind of, just figure out what we're going to do in a modern pluralistic society. They didn't see America turning out this way.
No. How could they have? I mean, how could they have envisioned Hamilton? There's no way. There's no way they saw Hamilton coming. But that's so interesting what you say about this comma situation. So when you say, if the Constitution says a well-regulated militia, comma, right to bear arms, then that means it's speaking of the military, a well-regulated militia. So only the military should have guns, not fucking regular civilian people who are unregulated.
How they were living at the time, right? So, and we also have to understand, this Second Amendment is specifically because they were afraid of, they had just fought a war against the British, so they didn't want the British coming back. All right, fine, whatever. This is the other crazy thing. In our Declaration of Independence, I forget it now, but it's called there's a phrase in our Declaration of Independence that refers to the savage Indian tribes. They don't teach us that. Can we read word for word? The savage Indian tribes. It's that. So they're afraid of the British. They're afraid of the savage Indian tribes, and they're afraid that these all these millions of black folk that they're raping and murdering every single day. Right? They're afraid that they're going to gang up.
It's all out of fear. They wrote it out of fear.
All out of fear. It's all out of fear. And it was, this white settler class that was, as far as they were concerned, surrounded by enemies. And so the militia wasn't even the military. The militia was whatever town you're in, there was a militia, So the five of you just keep all your guns together and
Yeah.
Either the British or these Indians or these black people. Get the guns.
Right.
And then so the town militias became the state militias, and then the state militias. Not going to be able to give you the year. We just got rid of state militias. We said no more state militias. So the whole point
Yeah.
of the Second Amendment probably should have gone away when we got rid of the whole thing they were talking about. Once
Right.
so there is no more New York State militia,
Okay. Huh.
but there's still this so-called right to bear arms.
Right. Oh my God, that's nuts. Okay. So the radical thing, the revolutionary thing would be to say get rid of the Second Amendment because it is all wrong the way that we have interpreted it today.
That's what some so the and this is the other crazy thing. So this whole evolution of the second. No one ever cared about the Second Amendment. Like the Second Amendment, it's not a thing that right. First of all, Americans don't read, so they asking them to read and count is just unfair, right? Like
It's no fair.
like maybe pick one over the other. No, but I think it's the NRA just basically used it became their issue to raise money. That's it. So even gun owners in the country,
Yeah.
right? It's all about language. Gun owners believe in sensible. They don't like gun control. Gun control. No, they don't call it. Stop calling it gun control. Stop. Stop. Call it gun safety. And then they're on board.
Yeah.
Then they're on board. Guns. Oh yeah, gun safety. So gun owners are in favor of gun safety. It's just the NRA that used it. The liberals are coming to take your guns.
Right.
To become, and so I think it's since the 50s roughly that, or maybe even the 70s even later. But that's when it's just gotten so out of control now that gun laws in the States are such that you can literally walk around with basically automatic weapons. So they're not automatic.
Open carry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, if you're white, if you're a black person, you're holding a sandwich.
You could kill somebody with that bologna sandwich.
That Subway sandwich is looking. I just reading, and every day there was a guy, I think in Virginia, he was on the phone. So anything in your head or perceiving nothing, right? So yes, you have these open carry states where
it's insane.
Generally, white men with really long, nasty beards. I've seen the pictures. Yeah. I'm not stereotyping. I'm just looking at the pictures. They can walk around with, strap looking like the little Rambo fantasies. But
right.
The rest of us, I would not recommend that.
That's the thing. I teach this in my classrooms, and I asked them. I was like, what is it about stereotypes and appropriation, like blackface, yellow face, red face, brown face? What is it about these things that is so negative? I asked them, and they'll just be like, oh, it's racist, it's demeaning, it's dehumanizing. I was like, okay, so, but then really, why is it bad? You're just giving me words. Why is it bad? And you just keep giving me the same kind of words. And I say, it's because if you can reduce a person down to something, it's easy to enslave them. It's a mental thing. You're mentioning these white settlers and them writing the Constitution out of fear, out of defensiveness and fear, right? Because they have the colonial oppression, but they're also oppressing, right? All around them. So, I mean, to me, that's the most unhappy person. That's what I see. A person who has just enemies from coming down from the top down, and then enemies that they're suppressing or killing around them. That's an extremely unhappy person. And it's well, if that person is that unhappy and they're objectifying whole bodies, murdering, raping, killing whole entire groups of people, massacres, right? Then it's they have to get to a certain point to be able to do that mentally, emotionally. I mean, they gotta disconnect from their humanity. The only way to do that is to self-traumatize by creating stereotypes, objectification, reduction, dehumanizing, debasing. The ability to not see humanity in another person is a skill that you develop, right? And they did that generation after generation. And it's just like, man, you white people with the colonial mentality, you guys are pitiful. I mean, I feel bad for you. You're so disconnected from your humanity, right? And that's what I explained to them. I'm like, if you dehumanize somebody, debase somebody down to something like that, it's dangerous because your thinking will be, oh, well, you can enslave these people, you know? Like, even think about just aside from race, let's think about in terms of like neoliberal terms or class terms, right? You go to college, you pay tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to fucking college. You're in debt. Your first job is a goddamn internship and they don't pay you a cent. And they say you should be so lucky. You interviewed in order to come here, work for us for free. You little piece of shit. And they treat you like shit at the internship. All of that to me is another aspect of that disconnection, dehumanization, not worrying how that intern, that kid will eat and support themselves, not worrying whether or not they have health care. You know, all of that is disconnection and dehumanization. And I just feel like we need to understand beyond these terms, like, rhetoric is important, as we talked about, right? Like gun safety. I love that. Like being able to come up with terms. I mean, that's why we have lawyers, right? People who are craftsmen of languages. That's why we have professors, academics. They are very, they're gifted in terms of, speech and words, right? That's why we turn to them. But it's like, let's really name things that connect us to the feeling, the affective part, because I feel like, the students were kind of naming things rotely, whatever they read from Salon or Slate or whatever, NPR. They're like dehumanizing, it's offensive, it's racist, it's appropriation, it's whatevs, but I'm like, tell me why you feel like this is wrong. We've got to feel it. If we don't feel it, even the liberals will make mistakes. They make them all the time because they don't feel, they just name, right? I mean, do you see that sometimes? Like liberals who they have the words, they have that down, they have the language, but I'm like, are you feeling this?
Exactly. So yeah, it's this thing where it's like, what is it called? It's like the woke economy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's all this currency, you want to position so everybody's seen in a certain way, and so you say all the right things, but what are you doing behind that? So my new thing is, I want to see the actions behind the words.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
like for example, I like to sue people. It's a hobby. I sued my aunt once in small claims court over $100. All right, like listen,
Okay.
I don't care. I will come. I don't care who you are. I'm happy. So I'm suing an ex-employer. The name is Siegersäule. They're a magazine here in Germany, queer magazine.
Okay.
I was the only non-white editor
Wow.
ever.
Uh-huh.
Like ever, like 30 plus year history of this magazine. Do we think there might be something going on there? I don't know. So then when I'm treated differently and I'm like, y'all,
Right.
and then, this, kind of like knocking on the door, hi, sorry to bother you. I just wanted to let you know that you might have discriminated against me. Maybe you should do something about that. Just like a friendly little, hey.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's just this defensive,ness, and it's like, no, but I'm the good guy.
Right.
No. No. I eat at that Jamaican restaurant. No. No. Or, even on me, like literally this comes up every time, especially here in Germany. Whenever white people start to get, they get defensive, because then literally this guy goes to me, but I'm friends with Hassan on the corner, not Hassan, our neighbor. We watched exactly when he moved into the neighborhood. We were making sure he wasn't stealing anything, so we just wanted to check Hassan. I know the Hassan. So there's this, this, I want to position myself. I want to be seen a certain way, but am I going to be, let's start here, hiring people? Am I going to be living in is living in a diverse neighborhood important to me? Right?
Right.
Is sending my kids to a diverse school, is that important to me?
Right.
So you can really see, all these people will have these great ideas in principle.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, but what so now you have the choice, what town are you moving to? Okay, for which school district and why, and your tax dollars are going where, and who are you supporting, and who are you hiring, and who you... When I see those actions behind those words, because right now people think that they can say the thing and stop, the hashtag and stop. They don't think they have to go any further than that. And I'm not saying everyone needs to be out here on the streets. It's kind of dangerous right now. If you need to stay home, there's a pandemic,
sure,
stay home, right? But so not everyone, we don't all need to be doing the same things, but we all need to be doing more. Everything we're doing needs to be doing more. And if people think it's enough to, you know, put a little black square on their Instagram, you know, like put that black square and I did it. Yay, we beat racism. It's like, no. Let me explain how this works. Racism is a system that we are all contributing to unless we're fighting against it.
All of us.
And even if we're fighting against it, most of the time, there can be some of the times when we fall right back into that role that was assigned to us.
Always.
So it's like never ending, all encompassing.
Yes.
You gotta keep going, and you can never stop. And you've got to keep examining in yourself. You know, I try to do this with myself. Like, oh, why did I just think of that about that person or in that circumstance? Or where does that come from? Woof! Like, you know, like what have I been reading or what have I been consuming? Because guilty pleasure that I'm going to admit. So with my husband, we have a rule that like we cannot. I was like, look, I'm not watching anything on Netflix that doesn't have black people in it, unless it's aliens, because I really like my science fiction. You know, so I'm like. And then he'll like, really, can we watch this, that, and I'm like, are the black people in it? No. He was traveling. So this is the guilty admission. I've started watching The Crown. Now, I know you might not, and yes, black people, but I've decided they're not human. They're aliens. They're in my aliens category. That's
they are 100%. I agree. I agree.
This is not normal. But even that show, it's so awful because everything the British monarchy represents, you know, just like racism, it dresses up so well. You know, they wear their little funny hats. You know, you put them in their little big ass homes with the homes on top of the homes, hallways that are whole avenues, just. And you know, it looks really nice, and so that's the problem. You know, racism. Who doesn't want to be, you know, sitting on the porch drinking mint juleps while everyone does everything for you? You know, all men are created equal. Now get back to the fields. You know, that's a nice life. You know, I get to rape whomever I want. I get to steal whatever I want. And you're going to build statues to me, and they're going to stay up for hundreds of years. You're going to ignore all my crimes. That's nice.
Yep. You're going to put a portrait of me up in your government buildings, right? That was the other harrowing thing, you know? Like, I think it was like maybe season 2 of The Crown, like when she's doing that tour, when the Queen's doing that tour, and she's in like, I don't know, like basically non-white countries, and there's like a fucking painting of her like in the government spaces of those countries. I'm just like, you know, like if I saw that like in my country, like if I saw that in like either in America or in Korea, if I saw a painting of some white lady, you know, who did no good to my country, if I saw that, I would be outraged. But those people have to just live with it. They don't have a fucking choice. They have to fucking live with it. But, you know, it's like, but woe is the queen. It's like, her husband might be cheating on her. Poor queen. Right? But honestly, The Crown's a really good fucking show. I mean, I gotta hand it to them. It was so good.
The whole first season, I
know.
It's like, okay, so I used to live in London, and I remember when I got to London, I was still watching Downton Abbey, because that was like, Michelle Obama was watching Downton Abbey. I was like, that's a good recommendation. That's literally, I started watching Downton Abbey because, I mean, I don't talk to Michelle, but you know, she was on an interview where she was talking about Downton Abbey, so I was like, oh, watch this. And then I get to England, and I'm like, oh no. I'm like, no, y'all still do, oh. No, that's cute on a little screen when it's like all weird and like a long time ago. But once I was like living there, and living there realizing that, here's a fun thing. So 2 things. So when I moved to the UK, my taxpayer money was being spent to support these people living in their big ass houses. So you know, they're British taxpayers pay for that.
Yeah.
But to bring it back to, slavery discussion, when I moved to the United Kingdom in the year 2013, until I think it was the year 2015, so for 2 of the years I lived there, every month I was working and paying taxes. Some of my tax money was being used to pay off the loan that the British government took out in the 1830s for reparations of slavery. Now stop, don't get too excited. Not reparations to the enslaved people, reparations to the enslavers. So in the
What?
1830s, the British government banned slavery, and all these white settlers in the Caribbean were hella mad about it. So the British government said, here's a check. You know how we were all really excited about our, maybe you got that 1,400
Right.
stimulus check. You know how excited we were? Put some zeros on that. All these plantation masters, so-called, got checks from the British government in the 1830s. British government spent 200 years, basically, paying that off. So that when my black ass shows up 200 years later, and this is the thing that people don't get, they're like, oh, slavery was so long ago. I'm like, no, I'm still paying for your great-great-great-grandfather, your tuition, how your little trust fund that sent you off to Eton or wherever, that little trust fund you got, yeah, I'm paying for that. And this is what people don't understand. They think, oh, it's so long ago, get over it. It's like literally they're still paying off the loans to the slave owners, not the enslaved people, the owners,
That's
the
insane.
rapists, murderers, and thieves.
That is insane. That is nuts. That is so warped on so many levels. Oh my gosh. Like, I can't even wrap my mind around it.
And I'll tell you this, and it's how did this come out? So like the IRS over there is called HMRC, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. Anyway, they sent out a tweet. They put out a tweet. They're like, oh, just let you know, just paid off the loan from the 1830s. And some journalists like, wait, what loan? How old was this loan? Wait, you said 1830. So they it had to get unraveled after that, but it was just a tweet. We're like, oh, just made the last interest payment.
Oh my God. I got goosebumps all over my body. So that's how much I'm freaked out by that news. That's horrifying. Yeah. This country, man, fucking America. I mean, this world, really. There was this I think NET or NET eventually became PBS, but there was this program. So so we had Amos and Andy and Balua, those racist, black caricature, blackface TV shows when television first started. But then for 10 years, there were 0 black TV shows, black family-centered TV shows. There was none. And there was civil rights movement was happening. It was all of that was happening, but they didn't make any black family TV shows. But then they had on public broadcasting, PBS, where they would have Downton Abbey and shit. They had a show called The History of the Negro People. It was narrated, it was hosted by Ossie, is it Ossie Davis? He played the mayor. Yeah, he played the mayor in Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. But he's hosting it. And basically, in that program, they say the reason why, and this goes back to the dehumanization and why is this incorrect? The Europeans looked upon all of Africa and its peoples as children. That was how it came in. That was the perspective they came in with, right? So to infantilize an entire continent of people, the hubris, the arrogance. It's where do you get it? Where do you get it? No, but just to wrap up my point, I just find the hubris of the white man just really, that's some out there shit, It's really wow, your hubris, they do have whiteness studies, they have colonial studies, they have it, but I'm still baffled by what does it take for a man to feel empowered to just be I'm gonna just enslave an entire continent and its peoples and dislocate them. And it's like, where does that come from? Like, how is, but honestly, like asking that question is just as silly as like, because I remember in the seventh grade when I was first learning about like, like the anti-Semitism and all that. I was like, what? I was like, why did the Nazis kill all these Jews? And my teacher was just like, Grace, that's an answer that like historians and philosophers spend ages trying to answer, and there just is no answer. Like, how do you answer a question like that? I don't know, it bums me out actually. It makes me profoundly sad. Okay, I want to get us to some fun stuff and then we'll wrap up. So, I'm going to ask you some flashcard questions based on this Korean TV show that I really like. Let's say you're a 17-year-old girl in high school. Your name is Sun Tok-sun, and it's the year 1988, Seoul Summer Olympics.
Okay.
And you got chosen to be a signpost carrier for the country Madagascar. And you've been practicing in the dead of the summer heat, working really hard, walking upright, wearing makeup, carrying this sign, keeping up with the rhythm and the pacing, because you got all these hundreds of other people, performing for the, Summer Olympics opening ceremony. And you're being interviewed on live television about your work. But then the anchor tells you on camera, live, that Madagascar has pulled out of the Olympic Games last minute, so your services are no longer needed. What do you do?
We getting extras for these Olympics. Okay, I'm going out. How old am I? Can I do
17. 17.
17? Yeah, I'm probably going to turn the tricks anyway. I'm getting people at these Olympics because, like who's going to, Madagascar, just
Yeah.
get some extras for this little event, pay them out. No one's going to know. It's fine. No one expects Madagascar to do well anyway, right? Like they just have to show up. It's like I was reading about the guy who, like I think it was like the London Olympics, just watched it, just became a rower like 3 months before the Olympics.
What?
Because every country gets to send someone, like they don't,
right.
you don't need to be the best in the world. You just need to be the best in that country. So
right. You just have to know how to do it.
Yeah,
you have to know how to row.
Like enroll anyone. Be like, no, I'm sorry, I don't think you. So my full response would be, no, I don't think you have your facts straight. I've spoken with the Madagascar Olympic Committee this morning, and we're sorting that out. No, we're not letting. No, we're not. You're not killing my dreams, Madagascar. Try again. We're going to invent a whole new flag. We're just going to get a whole new country in there. Snap them off as Madagascar.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Shit. So you'll take it into your own hands. All right. Take matters into your hands. That's good. I like that. I like a chick with agency,
Yeah.
It's the best. All right. So let's say you're a 17-year-old boy. Your name is Dongyo. Mm-hmm. And you got hemorrhoids, okay? You're embarrassed to tell anyone about it. So you don't go to the doctor or tell your parents that you need to see a doctor. Instead, you read in a medical textbook that shoving raw garlic up your asshole might make the swelling go down. So you do it. But while playing soccer, you fall on your ass. And when you stand up, your asshole is bleeding through your pants and all your friends see it. What do you do?
Ooh, girl. This is where you have to lean into a bigger lie. So I'm gonna say there was a gerbil up there. And I'm unfortunate that poor gerbil got crushed to life. And what a gerbil. And then I'm going to tell them the whole Richard Gere story. You put a gerbil up your asshole. And then they're 17-year-old boys that just want to get off, right? So you just deflect the attention away from hemorrhoids to something sexual.
Yeah.
But you don't have a gerbil up. You just have to like own it. Again, you just have to own it.
Yes.
And then make other people think they're missing out on what you're doing.
That's right. Yeah, that's always the best way to go. No matter how embarrassing or awful it is, just own it. Own it. Pretend like it's part of the plan.
Just like, aw, we're going to have to get another gerbil. And they're going to be like,
yeah.
What? Oh, it's a whole new thing. And then just find, I don't know, is it fun to like find a whole other country? It's like, it's all the rage in Europe, just put a little gerbil up, just make them think it's fancy.
Yeah. Yeah, put a charcuterie plate next to your ass and be like, it's part of the experience.
Yeah, just let them nibble at it. It's fine. It's like when we're running. Yeah.
All right, great. Okay.
I admit nothing is what I'm doing. All right, I'm leaning into everything as hard as I can.
Yes, lean in. Beautiful. Okay, let's say you're the 17-year-old girl Tuksun again, and your neighbor Sonu is a really nice guy. He's really sweet and he's a good-looking kid, and he's always looking out for you and he's really sweet to you. And your two best friends say that he likes you based on the way he's behaving. So you assume that he likes you and you start to like him back. But one day you find out that he actually has a crush on your older sister. What do you do?
How much older is the sister?
Like a couple years.
Okay, but we look alike.
Nothing alike. Nothing
Nothing alike.
alike.
Okay, because if he's got good D, right? Like I'm a chick him. I don't care. All into me? No, no, no. You do not get to be into the older sister. I can play the older sister. You know, everyone likes maybe like a little cheerleading costume. I'm
Yeah.
gonna dress like the sister just to get that D. Because if you got a good like that, then like whatever. Just get him. Okay, well, okay, not get him drunk. Maybe okay. Let's keep some consent involved. All right. Okay. Not
Yes.
get him drunk, but just start doing my hair a little differently. Walk with a bit more confidence.
Okay.
He just might have a thing for older women, but once I really put it on him, he's going to be all into the 17-year-old. Okay,
Oh, all
he's
right.
going to be, yeah, he's going to consent. He's going to consent,
Yeah.
but I'm with that D, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, my sister ain't getting that. She off. She
Mhm.
has
So you would use your youth to your advantage.
yes, yes.
All
First,
right.
I would, walk with more confidence, give him that older woman vibe,
Uh-huh.
maybe a little tough, just lean on in. But
Yeah.
he's coming. For me. He's coming for me. Yeah.
Okay. All right, fine. Great. Great.
She has won enough her entire life. No, I'm getting this.
Okay. All right, all right. Let's say you're a Paduk player, all right? You know Go, that game of Go. It's like the little
Thank you.
white and black stones. So you're a Paduk player, very famous Paduk player named Chetek, and you have a crush on your neighbor and childhood friend Tuksun, that chick, right? And you want to ask her out, but you later find a photo of her inside your best friend's wallet. What do you do?
The best friend has to go.
Okay.
Because he's like a stalker. I'm just protecting my love interest from this. He has nothing to do with her. I'm not even going to ask him. We're just going to go out on like, do hunting trips on the way to the. They're just going to be, you just got to go. I do not like competition. Is this coming through?
Yeah, you got to win it all. Always. It sounds like it. Yeah.
Get rid of that competition.
Yeah.
She's got to be there for me. No, I mean, if it's how long have I known this best friend? Maybe,
Oh, your whole life.
my whole
Childhood friends.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Then there is bros before hoes. This is a
Mm,
thing.
it is a thing in the zeitgeist.
That
Bros before hoes.
should apply. Are we all like swingers? Because I come from a place where everyone wins.
These are high school kids. No.
They grow up very fast.
It's the year 1988. It's, I don't know. They're very, like.
Can't we all just get along? I'm just wondering if we can make this work for everyone. That win-win-win
Yeah.
situation.
Okay, do like the Mormons do, kind of share and
Exactly.
pass
Exactly.
around.
He's
All
got
right.
that breath. She's going to realize that at some point anyway. So,
Yeah.
it's like, you try them out, then with me, and then it'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I like that.
Reasons for the win.
Okay. All right. Let's say you're an 18-year-old high school kid named Hanu, and you have a crush on your older neighbor, Pora. All right. This is Toksun's older sister. And she's a couple years older than you are, and she goes to, a fancy college, and she has a boyfriend. And you confess your love to her, and she tells you that she's always seen you as her little brother, nothing more. What do you do?
You got to wait this one out. All right. Because you're 18, you can't come in hard. You ain't got nothing to offer this woman. You ain't got no car, no driver's license, no credit card. You ain't got nothing. Listen, you just gonna have to wait. All right. Let them get married. Let them live their whole life. And then around like year 2, year 3 of that marriage, when he's not paying her no more attention, that's when that guy who's always been there, she can always rely on. You just got to play the long game on this one. All right, don't come in hard. Wait, maybe like 5, 7 years. Bulk up in the meantime. You got to really like have your eyes on the prize, and then slide into her DMs. I promise you, she gonna think different. Promise.
Yes.
Promise.
The long haul, the long game.
Yeah.
Yes, the long con, like Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, because 18, no. 18-year-old boy, no.
Gross.
No. 25-year-old?
Yeah. When I was 18, I broke up with my 18-year-old boyfriend to be with a 25-year-old.
Haven't we all? Okay. Haven't we all?
It's that age when you're 18. They leave you.
Yeah. Wait it out. She'll be desperate. Okay.
Yes.
She will be desperate, and then you're gonna be all, have some abs, and maybe get some abs.
Yeah. So work on yourself. Yeah. I like that. Okay, beautiful. Awesome. All right. Final question. Let's say you're an 18-year-old high school girl named Tucson, same girl. You go to a restaurant with your friends, and you briefly excuse yourself to go to the bathroom, which is downstairs of a very sketchy building. And a strange man appears wearing a long trench coat, and he opens his coat, and he's butt-ass naked, and he flashes you. What do you do?
I'm going to have my camera phone on ready, okay? Camera phone ready, flash, record the whole thing. I'm a TikToker. He does not have a very influential TikToker, okay? So this is going up. I'm going to get all my stance because, like, K-pop fans, they crazy. They good. They're technically savvy. They can buy up all the tickets to, Trump rallies to make sure no one goes. So I'm going to have this man's information out there fast. They're going to get his face. They're going to get his name. They're going to know where he's works. They're going to send his mama to like his whole office. No, you ain't flashing me and getting away with it. No, we coming for you. We ready for you, actually. This was a setup. Okay? No. He's going down. He's going down. And I might get like a few more million followers out of it.
It's a social justice work.
Yeah. And
don't flash Joe, everybody.
Yeah. And this is how I'm going to show my knowledge of contemporary Korean affairs. I think Korean men right now don't like this symbol because it makes them think they've got a small dick. Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's like a thing. So if you put this, like all like ad agencies, if they see this, like they're like incels go crazy. So I'm just going to do this in a little video to like piss them off even more, and we're going to have a whole feminist movement out of this.
All right, beautiful. I love that. That wraps it up for us, Joe. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time, all the insights, all the technical difficulties that we overcame. We overcame them.
Yeah.
And
I wish you could see me right now. I've got everything like I've learned. I'm like, no, we're not going out this day again.
You have a production crew and a team waiting.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. It was awesome.